is Saturday at 10:30 in the morning, and I'm doing a live stream. Are we talking more tights? So, I'll start off by saying it's not easy all the time to put your thoughts and feelings out there into the world and just let people run wild with them, especially with no context. I made a post on Instagram last night just saying BMX needs more superheroes and asked for thoughts on it. And I didn't give any context to what I was saying. Didn't give any kind of input or any other thoughts behind it of my own. I just put BMX needs more superheroes and asked for thoughts. And there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of comments on it. And so I thought, instead of just like letting it disappear into the ether of the internet, I would do a live stream and just talk about it and go through some of the comments and just talk about this subject because I feel like it's almost always good to start conversations about things and get people talking about things. And I don't know, and it's not a bad thing to talk about, so why not? So with that, I have a nice background here of superheroes on bikes. Where's it at? Right there. Boom. We got the Flash. I think that's Wonder Woman back there. I can't tell. Batman, the Hulk, Superman, Spider Man on BMX bikes. And I found it on Google. And I figured I would give the context to why I even asked or put this out there in the world. I figured I'd talk about why I even did that in the conversation that started it, just because I think that makes sense. And I'll give my context behind it before responding to anything that anyone else said. And so yesterday I was at the skate park with Sponge, and I forget what we were talking about that brought it up in my mind, but I just had the thought BMX needs more superheroes. And with that context, my brain was in a spot of thinking about the time period in BMX where people who were at the top were literal superheroes. Like going out there and doing superhuman feats of just insanity. And that's not to say people aren't doing it today. And I'm going to start off too by saying that everything I'm saying right now is what I'm saying. It's not me saying that it doesn't exist today. Needs more superheroes means we need more of them, not that there aren't any today. There's a lot of people who read something like this and immediately take it as, oh, it just he's saying it doesn't exist at all today, or there's none out there, or whatever. And no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we need more people like how Dave Mira, and Dave Mira is like the highest example you can go of this, I think, of just he was in the public eye as a superhero for little kids who didn't even ride bikes. And that did a lot for BMX in just bringing other people from the outside in. And there are absolutely superheroes everywhere in BMX today. There's so many people who are so incredible, and they do so much good stuff out there for people and ride and do impossible feats. But when you think about it in terms of the mid 2000s, and I'm not trying to glorify a time period here because the exact same thing existed before that for other people, and maybe it's just the time period you grew up in. More superheroes to make more people fall in love with BMX if they ride or not, says Jeff Mead. Exactly. Man, this feels like my old live streams of consciousness where I just jumped on here when I was feeling passionate about something and just talked about it. Maybe I'll do that more often because it's kind of what I'm doing right now. But That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, there's tons of superheroes in BMX who do impossible things, but they're our superheroes, not necessarily the little kid who's just watching it on TV and never's gonna pick up a bike kind of superhero. Like how, Superman is a superhero to everybody, not just comic book fans. R. Willie is a superhero in BMX. He absolutely is, but it's still different. Like I I don't know how it's different, but it feels different somehow. Like I think R. Willie could 1000% be on the same level of like notoriety and I guess fame that Dave Mira was, if he's not already, but it just for some reason it feels a little different. And he's definitely like the superhero doing the most insane crazy stuff that anyone's doing on a BMX bike right now, and in an area where there's not very many people pushing with the type of stuff he's doing. And it's just a topic that I wanted to bring up, and uh I thought that I would read some of the comments on my post, but this was literally just a 5 second conversation where I'm like, you know what, BMX needs more superheroes, and I'm gonna see what other people think about it, and then just posted it, and so I want to facilitate the conversation. It wasn't just the superhero type guys. Back in the day, we also had the underground legends that you rarely got to see but would blow minds. Chase Gwynn and Flatland comes to mind. There we go. Kevin Zuba kind of got my thoughts and put them into words a little bit on that. He said a bit of that larger than life person. I can't think of someone that the public would recognize on that level. R. Willie would potentially be the closest to that we have in today's era of BMX. Shout me out. I'm a BMX superhero. Apparently, Cesar Rodriguez is a BMX superhero. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. That larger than life person that reaches just everybody and not just people within the BMX world. Because we'll get to the part of talking about superheroes, and there's a comment that somebody left on my Facebook post of it that made me go, "Oh, yeah." Also, because of social media, it's really scary trying to get to the level or surpass Mr. Mira. There's never a replacing Dave Mira. Dave Mira's legacy and everything he did and all of that will always exist. And I know you're not saying that someone's trying to replace him, but I'm just saying for anybody out there, like you're never going to replace Dave Mira, but that doesn't mean you can't achieve some of the things that he did, and as far as helping BMX reach a larger audience. And for all the people out there who think, oh, BMX doesn't need to reach a larger audience, look at the industry right now and shut up because we need to sell bikes. And who's going to buy those bikes? Not BMX riders. BMX riders usually already have a bike. So we need to find people who don't ride bikes to buy bikes. We need to figure out how to get normal people to, instead of going to Walmart to buy a kid's bike, they go to the bike shop to buy a kid's bike, even if there's never an intention of actually going to a skate park or riding the bike for its intended purpose. We need normal people buying BMX bikes to get rid of the bikes that we have in BMX right now that needs sold. And that's not going to come from the industry of BMX. And if it is, it's just going to take years and years and years to happen because of people, of the longevity of a BMX bike. But that's what I'm kind of talking about. Uh, there's too much going on in BMX to have another Dave. I don't think that's true because someone, Kurt Schmidt says, I always thought Nigel Sylvester would break some barriers into the mainstream. And he kind of did. He kind of did, but like, I don't know. I don't follow that, like that, what he's doing. I don't follow that area of like mainstream culture or whatever. So he might, I don't know. But it's also, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think that like Adam 22 is more of a household name these days than any BMX rider who started riding in the last 15 years, which is, it's not necessarily, I'm not going to say it's good or bad or anything like that, but I think we need somebody like that. Nigel kills it bringing outside brands into BMX. Absolutely. Dave was in Rolling Stone and in the general media slash advertising, etc. Part of it might be people outside of BMX supporting BMX, which doesn't seem like a profitable move. Yeah, yeah, and there was a time period where it was profitable for people, and that's part of the, I guess, problem with superheroes and achieving that larger than life persona. And in today's era, and I don't even think it's about the profitability as far as like what I'm trying to get at, because if someone in BMX reached that mainstream larger than life persona, not persona, but position, and reached the world in terms of people, that stuff doesn't even matter anymore, you know? I mean, I'm me and I worked with Ford. Like, I think someone way, way, way larger than me could do huge stuff. Can't think of a BMXer that would be marketable to the general public. I don't know. Needs more sugar mama swingers. That's funny. So I guess what I'm getting at with this thing of BMX needing more superheroes is needing more people with that larger than life person, and that can get to the greater general public, like someone like Dave Mira did, or just in general action sports. How do we get action sports back into the position of it being like superheroes out there? I mean, Tony Hawk is a superhero to kids and adults everywhere, even to this day, for people who don't ride like or go to skate park or skate or anything. Would love for there to be another Dave, but it seems BMX might not have that interest so much because so much is happening to even have some main focus. Just that one person. It's not, BMX can't make another like Dave Mira type figure. It can't, BMX as an industry can't do it because it has to be something outside of BMX. It's not going to be us creating that person by putting him to the top, because if it was, like, Dennis Anderson would already be that person. The real problem is that when you become that big guy, then core BMX culture will chew you up. Tony Hawk was hated for years and years, and he really was affected by that, but he pushed through. Not a lot of people have that kind of constitution, and that's what's fucked up about BMX. Is that you see someone, like, people see someone being successful outside of BMX and they want to tear that person down instead of promoting, like, being stoked for them. Like, people can't just be stoked for somebody who's doing well if it's on a certain level. As soon as you reach a certain level, and that's this from the song in his video, it's lonely at the top in whatever you do. Like, it sucks that that's the way it is in BMX, and people who have that attitude need to just drop it genuinely. Love that you always think to speak up on the unthought in BMX. That's the point of like what I made this channel for. Daniel Sandoval is insane. Daniel Sandoval is insane, and he's absolutely a superhero in BMX, but not on the same type of level of what I'm talking about. And what Kurt just said is absolutely the truth. Nigel comes to mind when you bring that up. Absolutely. Nigel Sylvester has been like chewed up and spit out multiple times in BMX, and it's kind of stupid of BMX to do that. BMX has always been so stupid in that it doesn't take advantage of these things. Instead, it hates on them. BMX is the culture of people who went, this is where we went to get away from that. We're the outsiders. We're the people who go against the grain. Yet when someone goes against our grain, we do that to them. We abandon them and we hate on them. And it's stupid. And the people who do that don't think about what they're doing. It's just cool to to hate on things sometimes, but what you have to realize is that we're literally all the same. And I don't know, it gets under my skin a little bit whenever stuff like that happens because it's like, dude, we're literally the fucking band of misfit toys. We're the people who are the outsiders, and we're gonna cast people out for going against our grain. What kind of sense does that make? It doesn't. So at this point, I'm gonna read a couple of things. BMX is very divided in itself, which is an issue. Trail riders often don't like. I don't know if that's fully true. I think there's certain people who don't like things, but I think everybody gets respect. It's just when you cross a certain line, you just immediately have the pitchforks and torches after you. BMX's own worst enemy at times, 100%. Or maybe we see that same aspect that we wanted to get away from in many of these really good riders. I don't know about that. Anyways, I'm going to pull up some of these comments and just talk more. We want Brant more hunting videos on this channel. Dude, there are 60,000 other people that are not ready for that. Genuinely. People, I would go from where I'm at on my channel to 40,000 overnight if I posted the hunting video. Literally, my hunt is filmed. I haven't edited it yet, but it is. And people would lose their mind on this channel if I posted it. It's also insecurity in young men. I masked a lot of that in arrogance when I was young and talked a lot of shit. It's the only regret I have for my career as a pro. That is absolutely the problem, is insecurity in people. People see someone else who are doing something that they can't or will never be able to do, or achieving something that they can't or will never be able to do, but they want to, or are seeing someone else putting in similar or less work than them and seeing them achieve greater things. That's insecurity, and the most natural way of insecurity coming out is jealousy that turns into hate. All jokes, I don't want Brant canceled. You can't cancel me because I'm never going to stop, but it could certainly bring a hit to it. I've seen in your videos, people seem to be very accepting of each other's riding, but in my area, it's super divided. Well, that sucks to hear, and I would love to go to that area and just be around those people, because I am stoked for everyone. You go into, like, at Ray's, I'm going to Ray's here, I don't know, half hour, whenever I leave to get up there after eating. Whenever, like tonight, there's gonna be like, I don't know, however many people there, and they're all going to be different styles of riding, different levels of riding. And when I'm there, I'm just stoked on the individual who's riding at any given time. The younger kids who are working on whatever they might be trying to learn, if they make progress in it and almost land it, I'm responding exactly the same as a person who's amazing and doing something super crazy. Ohio BMX scene is pretty united. We all just kind of like ripping together. I mean, it feels decent right now for sure, Caleb, but there's a time period where you'd go to Rays and certain people don't cheer for everybody. They just cheer for certain other people, and the clickiness. And it was weird for a little while, but it's definitely way better. So I don't know how else to bring up comments on this other than being able to see just a little bit of the comments on it, because when you actually go to my page on here, see, look, you can't even go to it. What the heck's going on? Instagram is broken. Oh, it worked. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna make myself smaller here so we can read these comments. So I just put thoughts. Somebody put Vandiver Homan will save us. So here's another thing that was about this, is like, there's a lot of superheroes who are listed in this, but they're all like 35 and older almost. And that was kind of my point in saying BMX needs more of them, because there's these larger than life people like Van Homan and Morgan Wade and Ryan Nyquist who, like, as much as it sucks to say, like, we're not going to be doing it forever. No, we can't ride forever. So we need like people who come in and try to be superheroes, maybe not try, but who end up being superheroes like these guys. Noah will save us. There's always a bad apple in the bunch, but I'll spread my apple juice to anyone. That's funny. But absolutely, I think we've kind of weeded out the bad apples as far as how letting people be shitty in BMX in Ohio. But Van Homan will save us. I don't know who the real Captain Idiot is. I'm not going to click on that. I don't know what's going to come up if I do. But as long as Brett Downs said, as long as we have Texas Morgan Wade and Ryan Nyquist, we'll be fine. And that's absolutely true. They're both superheroes. These two are the type of person I was thinking of whenever I said BMX needs more superheroes, because both of those guys are just larger than life. When you think about props, Megatour, where maybe it wasn't Megatour, but the props that Morgan Wade was on, and everybody was just talking about this young kid from Tyler, Texas, who's going insane. Like, that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about someone being a superhero. And there's also something to come in mind that comes to mind with this. Where's it at? It was on Facebook. Was it this guy right here? So he said, okay, so you meant it literally, because he asked cartoon or in real life. He says pretty much what everyone else is kind of saying, what I was thinking if you meant it literally. Every one of us is someone else's superhero. I think that's really important to remember, just in life in general, because everybody is someone else's superhero. And maybe it's not on the same level of what I'm talking about with this conversation specifically, and like what inspired it for me, but that is 1,000% true. And if we all realized it, I mean, I think Caleb in the chat is a shining example of this right now, and just how he is putting himself forward in BMX right now and trying to do good. It's like realizing that you're someone else's superhero, and that's really important, I think. And then Neva Dunn also says there is one at every park in every town, which is absolutely also true. Like 1,000%. Because we can all think of the people from wherever it might be who are superheroes that nobody else in BMX knows of. They're not big. They never had ambitions of being a big name or anything like that. And it is just true. There's no way of getting around that one. But those are the kind of people that I think, if they were promoted in BMX, could become superheroes too, like to everyone. But maybe people don't want that. And I think every town has this superhero person who rides that little kids look up to, who is their superhero, and that is important. And it just makes sense. Like, I'm not saying that that person doesn't exist or isn't important. I'm saying we need more of them. Right there, BMX needs more superheroes. This way, yeah, that way. We need more. It's just that simple. I think we need more people like that. And to say that there's never enough of them isn't a bad thing, I think. Steve Cuesta, legend, superhero in a lot of people's eyes. I mean, he's a superhero to me for sure. Also needs to understand that we are all on the same team. Know that BMX is your own personal interpretation of freestyle. 1,000%. I would say they all disappeared when the road trip videos and team videos stopped being made, which is an interesting point in the conversation, because I think that stuff like props and going on trips with a whole bunch of different people from different teams and different companies and seeing who is that superhero of the trip is what I'm talking about. Because it's a little bit different when you have the videos that we see today and you see a trip video with riders. It's all just riding. There's no personality to it usually. You know, you talk about, I don't know, I'm not going to give examples or anything, but you watch the videos that come out today from trips and it's all riding. There's not a lot of personality to it, but with the style of props where you had the riders talking about what happened, you had the riders on these trips elevating certain people to be the superheroes of the journey. They talked about it when the Morgan Wade example is perfect example. And today, I mean, I watched the fit video that came out where they were going to Colorado, where Stu Johnson, literally somebody who helped make props, did it in that style where he was interviewing Cole Volker, REA, and Biz, and they were talking about stuff, and the way that they talked about these riders, it was like they were elevating them to superhero status in just the way they were talking about them. And I think that's part of what created a lot of this mentality in my head of like certain people are like superheroes in like the literal sense of thinking about someone like Superman or something like that versus the whole, everyone has a local superhero or we're superheroes in everyone's eyes. I'm talking about the level above that even. So, yeah, there's a lot of that. BMX needs to get an effing job and stop destroying public property. I love that guy. Mitch Anderson's awesome. He has some crazy videos throughout the years. Oh, let's see. Need more Crew Jones. Miro was always mine. Ryan Williams is superhero level. He's this era's Matt Hoffman. I mean, okay, so Jeff, when you say Titans, I kind of think I should have used that word instead of superheroes because I think people would have understood what I was saying a little bit better versus the word superheroes. But yeah, Titans is good. uh Keith, Big Keith from Outrays. I'm like right here. It's been 20 years since I've been on a BMX, but Matt Hoffman and Dave Mira have always been superheroes in my eyes. That's kind of what I'm talking about too. Where if you have people who quit riding now and in 20 years, who are they going to say are the superheroes of today's generation? BMX is filled with superheroes, says Sambone the Hambone. Absolutely. There's no denying that. This doesn't say BMX doesn't have superheroes. This says BMX needs more superheroes. It's funny when you see how certain people interpret certain things that you say is like, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying we need more. We need more gods among riders. Yes, that is what I'm getting at with this. Not not like the whole concept of everyone is a superhero to someone is amazing and that there's a superhero at every local skate park, it's amazing, but it's not what I'm meaning here because that exists. It will always exist. There will always need to be more of them. There always will be some as long as people are riding bikes. But I'm talking about the gods among riders, the people who show up to a big contest and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see what that guy's gonna do over anything else because you know something crazy is going to happen. That's what I'm talking about. Hippie Steve, it wasn't easy hanging up my freestyle cape. Absolutely, man. So anyway, back to the Instagram because there's a lot of comments on this one. TJ Lavin said, Corey Nastasio, Ryan Mills, Ryan Nyquist, and Troy McMurray. Just off the top of my head, a few of BMX's superheroes. There are too many new dudes out there killing it to name. It's very healthy if you ask me. I'm a fan of all of them. Absolutely. But the 4 people he listed are older dudes. The younger guys are out there killing it, but I feel like there's not the same level of gods among riders that there was in this era of all of the riders bringing each other up through the props type videos, making everybody elevated to superhero status. Jamie Bestwick is a farm animal. I think they call it a goat. Fast and Loose team is like the Avengers. That's funny. Aaron Ross and Chase Hawk, absolutely superheroes. And Aaron Ross is achieving that like larger than life essence in the Austin area, becoming a well-known dude and doing so many amazing things. Absolutely. I think a lot of people just keep forgetting in the whole conversation. I'm not saying they don't exist. BMX has a lot of superheroes. Glenn P.P. Milligan said, yep. That guy knows. BMX has a lot of superheroes, but they are not public shown like football players and other sports in this modern day. I remember there was a channel dedicated to extreme sports, and on Saturday and Sunday here in the UK, Channel 4 and 5 would do shows about it back in the day, and today it's still more of a black sheep sport, same as any other extreme sport. Yeah. BMX is where the superheroes reside. You're one of them. Thank you. Tough luck. Remember my name then. Remember this guy's name, guys. We'll come back in 10 years and let's hope that this guy is a superhero. Lumpy, grumpy potato. I think there are already lots of them. Absolutely, there are. BMX needs superstars like when I raced in the early 1980s. Like, yeah, Stu Thompson is a superhero in BMX. Eddie Fiola, superhero in BMX. And if you look at today's riders, like who do you pick out where there's so many of those names from back in the day that it feels like there's not as many of those types of names that 50 years from now you're still going to have people lining up in lines at the old mid-school BMX show, not the old school because those happen now, but the mid-school BMX show. Like, are you going to have in a line to just meet one person that is a consistent line the entire day for anyone in BMX today? It's crazy to think about. Older media made superheroes. Things are different now and it's harder to make superheroes. Exactly. This is Snakebite BMX. So this is Shad Johnson. He knows what he's talking about. There's still plenty out there, but it comes across different to older riders than it does to the younger generation. Nothing wrong with either way, though. He's absolutely right. It's way harder to make superheroes today. In the era of TV and Slim Jim stickers on helmets that were thousands and thousands of dollars, it was easier. It was definitely easier to make it happen because companies were throwing big dollars at people, and that's what makes the superheroes to the larger than life, general public type people. Here's a fun one. Get stoked BMX. If pros were DC/Marvel superheroes, quick, DC or Marvel, pick, go. Dennis Anderson is Superman. Can't argue with it. Garrett Reynolds is Batman. Tex Morgan Wade. I need to stop reading their names and just say their names. Morgan Wade is Captain America. Oh, hell yeah. I could just see Morgan Wade crashing on a whipped ice on a hitching post and being like, get up. He's like, I can do this all day. Logan Martin is Thor. Oh, I don't know about that. I feel like Morgan Wade could also be Thor. I don't know about, who would you say Logan Martin is? I don't know. I don't know if it'd be Thor though. Chris Fox is the Flash. He goes fast. Corey Walsh is Aquaman. The way he can ride bulls and pools. Ooh, okay. Matt Nordstrom or Johnny Race would be Doctor Strange because the combos they do are magic. That's funny. I like that. What do we got? Psychedelephant. What is a superhero? Someone who makes the scene a better place? Someone who drops banger edits a couple times a year? Or could it be a local shredder who inspires just one person to pick up a bike and give it a try? What if that one person was the next big thing that takes the sport to the next level? Anyone can be someone's superhero. We just need people to keep BMX fun. People like Catfish and Crandall. And so many more made BMX what it is to me. Keep it fresh, keep it fun. BMX is a superhero. Absolutely. Morgan Wade could be Wolverine. Holy crap. That's true. Morgan Wade could be Thor, Captain America, and Wolverine all wrapped up in one. But what this dude's saying is absolutely true as well. All of it. Just all of it. Again, it's not exactly what I'm talking about, but all of that is true. And I think the whole what if this one person was the next big thing that takes the sport to the next level is a really important thing to consider when you're talking about people like Nigel Sylvester and Adam LZ even, who are so polarizing but helped BMX get to so many more people than it would have without them. Is that you have to realize it's possible that that person gets somebody into BMX who is the next Mike Aiken or Van Homan or any of those names. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing about BMX. It has every physical and mental challenge a person can encounter. I think that is really hard to argue with. And if you really just put it all out there with every single one that you're talking about, you could probably figure out a way to connect BMX to anything you could think of. Jacob Thiem, he's kind of a superhero. Like in the Nebraska scene, Jacob Thiem's a superhero. Carl Hinckley, for sure, but we'll get to that comment. It's in here somewhere. BMX needs more appreciation. True. This guy says, I agree, but it also needs actions because it doesn't even survive through maneuvers. BMX needs more gatekeeping. Yes! We need way more gatekeeping. No, we need the people who gatekeep in BMX to GTFO for real and stop being leeches off the BMX industry. Because there's a lot of, yeah, not going into that. Let's talk about superheroes. Alex Warden, be the superhero you want to see. Absolutely. Pretty sure R. Willie is not human, but is that making BMX seem not doable since we are getting esoteric? Geez, what an era. There are so many from the early 2000s and 2010s. That's what I'm saying. And I think props and stuff like props created that because the riders were making each other superheroes, talking about each other versus edits and Instagram clips of today. It's like, how do you even do that when it's just an Instagram clip of riding or an edit of just riding clips? It can get 2 million views, but if there's no personality behind it or nothing to elevate that person, then does it happen? I think it takes more than just being an amazing rider. I think it takes the riding and the personality combined. Man, I swear, every single super loud piece of junk truck that drives by is a Dodge. Anyways, that's going to make people mad. But it takes both. It takes the riding and the personality coming together in a way that makes someone into a superhero. Damn straight, Wilbur. Who's Wilbur? Eric Brown. I'm waiting for a sprocket-shaped signal in the sky. I'm ready. I would argue, Eric, with working at Woodward, you're kind of like doing that role and trying to, help BMX in a way that not everybody will see or recognize, but you're doing it. Catfish tagged the superhero stunt team. We out here. That's awesome. Oh, I haven't heard of them before. My BMX bike is a superhero. I would argue our bikes are all superheroes because they go through some stuff. Steve J. BMX. No capes. Bill Batchelor. Bill Batchelor has an awesome photo book right there. Concrete and Smog. Look at that. I figured out how to point at it. Check it out. But magazines made the superheroes of yesterday. Magazines and keep nailing into the ground. Props, videos like that. Can you imagine if, you have these edits that come out? There's a trip edit, then there's the raw edit. There's a riding edit from a pro, then there's the raw edit. Can you imagine if when you did the raw edit, you had interview stuff in that with other people who were involved and you just took 2 seconds while filming? I know this is really hard to do because when you're filming an edit, you're not thinking about that and you're just trying to get the clips and you're not necessarily thinking about, oh, I'm going to make a raw version of this that shows more than just that stuff that wasn't landing the trick or what we filmed in between. But can you imagine if these raw edits had a little bit more in them that had people talking who were involved and stuff like that? It could do what I'm talking about. The Smooths is my hero. Define BMX superhero. So everybody was asking me to define it, and I say that's up to the person who is writing the response. Anyways, have you not met Mike 359? I have not. Thinking about props and the vibes gives me chills every time. Those videos made it a lifestyle. Absolutely. I think BMX has everything it needs aside from more coverage. I suspect you could find everything you are looking for if all the riders who deserved it had footage of their riding to share. I'm always blown away by the level of riding that some people far from the spotlight achieve, not to mention those guys who avoid it like the plague. Absolutely. That's a fair point, too. That's what I said to him. 1000%. Jamie Bestwick says, open your eyes. They're everywhere. Yeah, they are. And I think we need more of them. Nowhere BMX is a superhero, says Adam Banton. Could not agree more. 1000%. Carl is a superhero. I know too, Simon Tabron and Rob Nolly both survived open heart surgery and are still riding. Yes, superheroes. They're also older guys too. It's like, we need younger superheroes, man. How tall am I? I think 5'10". I think. Sean Burns, superhero. Everything this dude said, yes. I'm just trying to keep time in mind here because I have to go like now. Brad Sims, superhero. Yes. Poor boy Steve, thank you. He said, you're my superhero. Thank you. Dylan, thank you. Seriously. Nick Cruzar, he has a really awesome comment here, and I wish I had time to get into more of it, but I actually like have to go. I have to make lunch so I can go ride Rays. I ride 21-inch top tube. BMX needs more farts, says Crandall. Farts, superheroes, same thing. Anthony Villani brings up a great point. Heroes are sandwiches. Villains challenge the status quo and say what needs to be said regardless of what others think. A villain won't pat you on the back and tell you what you want to hear. Heroes are corruptible while villains are heroes who are already corrupted. I mean, yeah, you can't argue with that. And I feel like that makes me a villain sometimes because, like, right now, I'm trying to say stuff that I think needs to be said. Yeah. Anyways, superheroes are scene builders. Think of what bike parks do for the scene. Scenes also built by crews, videos, mags, jams, contests. Absolutely, Mike Potosny, and I think we need more of all of that. What's up, Malik? You ready to go ride Rays? I'm going to be there by 1, I promise. All right, so with that, I couldn't get through all of these. Actually, no. All right, so yeah, I got through most of them. BMX needs more people in the industry who actually care about growing the sport. Yes. Rooftop is a superhero. Did a good job branching out BMX to represent us as a sport, but still remaining a core rider. Absolutely. So, with that being said, I think there are no supers in BMX because a lot of people are trying to be that superhero, money, fame, like etc. I don't know. Anyways, I gotta get out of here. I hope this spawns some conversation here and gets people thinking and I don't know, does something good for somebody. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching this, and we'll see you tomorrow for another one. I hope this becomes a video before 3:30 today because I'm going to save the video for today for tomorrow. Thanks for watching and leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep the conversation